Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a really fundamental question. What are we actually made of? We're going to break down the 4 essential molecules that are, quite literally, the foundation of all life as we know it. And, let's go beyond skin and bone. If you could just zoom in way, way past the cellular level, you'd find that everything that's alive is built from a surprisingly small and honestly simple set of core components. And there they are. That's the list, just these 4. They're called biomolecules, or you'll sometimes hear the term macromolecules. And what's wild is that everything from a tiny little plant to a gigantic whale is built using different combinations of just these 4 things. So to really get how these massive molecules are built, you just need to know 2 key ideas. The first is a monomer. It's the single basic building block, the individual Lego brick, And when you link a whole bunch of those monomers together, you get a polymer. That's your finished Lego castle. Simple, right? Okay, so that brings up a good question. How does a cell actually connect all those little Lego bricks to build something bigger? There's got to be some kind of biological glue, some chemical reaction that snaps one monomer to the next. So what is it? Well, it's this really cool process called dehydration synthesis. And the name actually tells you everything we need to know. Dehydration, because you're losing a water molecule, and synthesis, because you're building something new. So by taking out that tiny H2O, a new super strong bond just snaps into place, linking those monomers into a chain. That's how it's done. All right, so with that background, let's meet our first 2 big players. I like to think of them as the energy crew for the cell, because their whole job is about managing the fuel needed to keep the lights on. Let's talk about carbohydrates and lipids. First up, we've got carbohydrates. You know these. When your body, or any living thing really, needs a quick hit of energy, this is its go-to source. They are the fast-acting, easy-to-access fuel that powers pretty much everything. Now, carbs are built from these simple sugar monomers, like glucose. But get this, their job is way more than just giving you a sugar rush. They're also amazing structural materials, like the super tough cellulose that makes up plant walls. And, of course, they're great for energy storage. Think of starch in a potato. Oh, and here's a little secret for you. If a word ends in O's, like glucose or fructose, you can bet you're dealing with a sugar. All right, next member of the energy crew, lipids. You've definitely heard of these. You probably know them as fats, oils, and waxes. They play a totally different, but just as vital, role in the cell. The number one thing to know about lipids is that they are hydrophobic. They do not mix with water. And that one property is the key to all their jobs. It's what lets them store massive amounts of energy for the long haul, what lets them form the waterproof barrier of our cell membranes, and even act as important hormones like testosterone. It's also why they're great for insulation. I love this comparison because it makes it so clear. Here's the best way to think about it. Carbohydrates are like the cash in your wallet. It's right there, easy to spend. Lipids, on the other hand, are like your long-term savings account. They hold way more energy, but it's a bit harder to get to. You need both, but for totally different reasons. Okay, so we've got our energy all sorted out. But all that fuel is useless if you don't have a workforce to actually get things done in the cell. And that, my friends, is where our next molecule, the protein, steps in. And honestly, that Swiss Army knife analogy is just perfect. If there is a job that needs doing inside a living thing, whether it's building something, speeding up a reaction, carrying a molecule around, I guarantee you there's a protein that does it. They are the real workhorses. So what are these incredible little machines made of? Well, their monomers are called amino acids. And here's the amazing part. There are only 20 different kinds. But just like you can write endless books with only 26 letters, life can build a practically infinite number of different proteins by arranging those 20 amino acids in different orders. And hey, just like with sugars, there's another cool naming trick for proteins. If you see a word ending in ase, like lactase, it's almost certainly an enzyme, a protein that speeds things up. And lots of other proteins end in, like keratin in your hair or hemoglobin in your blood. And just look at this list. It's incredible. Right now, proteins are digesting your food, they're making up your hair, they're carrying oxygen through your blood, they're letting your muscles move, and they're fighting off germs with antibodies. They literally do everything. It's amazing. All right, this brings us to our final and maybe most important molecule. We've got all this incredible protein machinery, but how does the cell know which ones to build and when to build them? Where do the instructions come from? Exactly. You can't have all this complicated activity, all this building and fueling and working happening randomly. It has to be coordinated. There has to be a master plan, a blueprint that holds all the information for how to build and run the entire organism. And that blueprint, that master plan, is stored in our fourth and final type of biomolecule, the nucleic acids. You know them better as DNA and RNA. Their entire job, their whole reason for existing, is to store, copy, and read the genetic information that tells the cell what to do. The monomer for a nucleic acid is called a nucleotide, and each one is just a simple three-part structure. You've got a phosphate, a sugar, and then one of 5 nitrogenous bases. It's the specific sequence of those bases, the A's, T's, C's, and G's, that spell out the actual genetic code. So you've got 2 main types of nucleic acids. DNA is like the master reference library. It's a super stable double-stranded helix that's kept safe inside the cell's nucleus. RNA is more like a working photocopy. It's a single strand that carries a specific set of instructions out from the DNA to the parts of the cell that actually build the proteins. So we've met the whole crew. The energy guys, the workforce, and the blueprint. But what's the big picture here? What happens when you put them all together? And this is the most important part. None of these molecules work alone. They're all part of this incredibly complex and beautiful dance. The energy from carbohydrates fuels the protein workers. Those proteins are built using the plans stored in nucleic acids, and the whole show takes place inside cells that are held together by lipids. It's a perfect symphony. And that leaves us with a really amazing thought to wrap things up. From just 4 basic types of molecules, built from just a few common elements, you get all of the mind-boggling complexity and diversity of life on this planet. From a single-celled amoeba to a human being. It really is an incredible testament to the power of biology.